Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Up the Pilgrims. This is the podcast of Boston United of the National League. And I am joined today by the one and only Stedders. Good afternoon, Stedders. How are you doing?
Afternoon, mate. If I'm honest, I wasn't expecting this call today, but here we are, Damo.
We are, yes, we are. Of course, no David today. He's somewhere high in the sky, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. He's on his way back from his holidays, so yeah. Safe
Yeah.
travels to him, and he'll join us again soon.
He will do. Yeah, he'll be back soon. But yes, this afternoon we're going to be doing this off the cuff because we suddenly heard today that Boston have made an announcement that Ian Culverhouse has been sacked from his managerial position. And Stedders, do you think it's a news that were you expecting it really?
I don't know if it was the news that was expected. To be honest with you, I was a firm believer in backing him for a bit longer. To be honest with you, but I can see why the timing is where it is because of obviously we got no games coming up with the FA Cup run now obviously gone, so that means next weekend's free. So in theory, they've got 2 weeks now for a free hit at whatever they want to work with next. So and the timing's not surprising. The announcement, yeah, I think that the three games that we've just played were pivotal, weren't they? You know, the three games that we've come away with 1 point from them three games. So I think that that's probably just been the final nail in the coffin for him, to be honest with you. But yeah, not too surprised, to be honest with you, in terms of the timing. But yeah, it's never nice to see anybody lose a job, is it?
It isn't. I mean, you look at the beginning of the whole of the season overall, and obviously we started off with Rochdale at home, big defeat there. Went on to Forest Green, another fairly big defeat. And then we did pick up a few results at York and at Sutton, and things looked promising. I mean, I feel that we've got a decent team. In terms of players, individually, I think we've got some good players there, but as a team, it just doesn't seem to be gelling, does it? And it hasn't done all season for him.
No, and I think Saturday absolutely epitomised that, didn't it? With the last minute penalty being given away. I mean,
Yeah,
I think I think in all honesty, I think he might have lost the drill. My camera's just gone. Look, I'm falling over quicker than the Boston United management are. No, I think to be honest with you, I think that decision maybe was the final nail in the coffin. It just felt like some of the players just weren't backing him either by the looks of it, was it? He was particularly disgruntled with Jacob Hazler. If you watch that last interview back, I don't know if you've seen it from the club following the
yes, yeah,
Saturday's game. It was particularly disgruntled with Jacob Hazel coming on and doing not what he should do. And he just looks like he cuts a very frustrated figure and very fed up a little bit towards the end. And when it comes towards the media duties and interviews, you could just see it was just being a burden on him, weren't it? And to be honest with you, when it gets to that point, it's always going to be tough to turn it around, isn't it? So yeah, we'll go on to it as well. I'm sure we'll talk a bit in a moment about what he has achieved with us as a club. From being where we were to where we are now. Again, I think some people were probably wanted to pull the trigger a bit too early and wanted it a few games ago. You know what I mean? You've got to
yeah.
remember, guys. Like I say, we said it before. 17 years is the highest place Boston's ever been in that long.
Oh, it is.
So you can't forget the fantastic job he's done as well, and that's what he should be commended for at first instance, in my liking.
Yeah, of course. And he came in back in around September, didn't he? 2022, and we had Paul Cox in charge at the time. And I remember that was a few bad results there, including I remember the first game of the season. I think I was doing commentary, and
Southport,
for
wasn't
that,
it?
that's right, South Park, and we were 5-0 down after about 60 minutes, and I remember doing commentary thinking, what's going on here? I was just speechless. And we did get 3 goals back, which was great, in the end, but obviously not enough at the time. And it just went on, and obviously led to the sacking of Paul Cox, which led to the appointment of Ian Culverhouse, Paul Bastock, and Joe Simpson as well. And yeah, he took us from what was, the bottom of the National League North at the time, and led us to last season's promotion. So, I think he will go down as a manager in history as one of the better managers for Boston. Do you think?
Oh, 100%, Matt. Absolutely. He should be respected for what he did for us. Like you say, and it was a tough time for us down there, wasn't it? At the time down there, when we, like you say, we never looked like we were going to get out of there, but he made some very shrewd signings in that season, didn't he? Some like Mr. Billy Chadwick, who obviously
Yes,
got us a lot of goals, and Tom Nixon, who also played a fantastic pivotal part in defensive line as well. But he made some great signings and got us out of that rut, didn't they? And then managed to kick on again, like you say, had a really good summer and made some fantastic acquisitions, and then got us up. And I think I've just mentioned it in one of the comments before. Again, I mean, sometimes you sound like a broken record when you say stuff like this, but that promotion last season came as a surprise for everybody, for the
it
management,
did.
for the team, for the chairman, for the fans, for everybody. So I kind of feel as though it was a bit of a shock, to be honest with you. And no offense to National League North, the gulf between that and this season is ridiculous. We're
Yeah,
talking. It's two different. You're on two different planets playing football. You really are. It's just different gravy, isn't it? And unfortunately, it just hasn't clicked this season, has it? Like you say, I think we've lost so many points from winning positions. I think we've been up in games. I don't want to quote too much, but about 15 or 18 points have been lost just from winning positions where we've been up in games and then gone on to either draw or lose them. Just can't carry on like that, can you? You know what I mean? That could give you the difference between where we are now to a mid-table, to where we should be, really. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think it's through lack of trying or effort or anything like that. I just think that sometimes just better, isn't it? And more clinical. And we've found that out, haven't we? That these teams will just
yeah.
punish you and punish you no matter what. And he's just had a bad run. It's come at a bad time. But like I say, you don't have too many short memories, fans out there, because last season we were rolling and rocking all them away games, going to Scunthorpe, going to Alfred, going to Hereford, going to
Oh yes,
Brackley, going to wherever it was, you name it, and turning teams over. So yeah, it's a big thanks to them. And just obviously, interestingly enough, Damo, to chat about as well is the statement brought out from the club, because actually nothing was mentioned about Joe Simpson or Paul Bastock in there, was it?
no, it did say further announcements will be made in due course. So at the end of the statement. So yeah, what does that mean? Because obviously Bazza and Joe have been with Cully when he's gone to obviously Kings Lynn and the other clubs, hasn't they? Along with Carroll as well, of course, the physio. So yeah, so I mean, where does the land lie for these guys now as well?
Unless they're trying to negotiate something themselves, which they can sort out so they can stay either temporarily or be part of something in the future. Who knows? We can only speculate on that at the minute, can't we? But I want to give a shout out to Joe Simpson and Bazza as well, because it's not
Yeah,
just a one-man team. This is it. It's not Cully as well. It is them two as well. And
yeah,
Paul Bastock is still an absolute Boston legend, no matter what goes on or what has happened for him. Trust me, this run would have hurt nobody more than it hurt him, because he is the most passionate Boston man you will ever meet, and he is 100% behind everything that we do at this football club, and he will forever be that. And so, I don't want any of his cult status to be hit or tarnished by anything that's gone on, because like I say, the man is Boston through and through, and if he gets a chance, back him, guys. That's all I'd say, and I think that's the question to anybody coming in now. I think it's just a case of now, you've made your decision now. Now you go out and back whoever's next. But yeah,
yes.
we should also again thank Cully for his efforts, because I think he's done an excellent job.
Yeah. I mean, where do you think, I mean, looking back into last season as well, and where do you think it's all gone wrong for Cully? Where do you think, I mean, we're in the higher league now, but I mean, last season, as I say, we finished sixth. We only just got into the playoffs, to be fair. And, it was kind of, it was an average season, I would say, last season, before the playoffs. We weren't striking fear into teams, were we? We just kind of got a lucky break and was in the right place at the right time and got some luck with the penalties to get ourselves through to the final and win that with a penalty, of course, as well. So, I mean, where do you feel it went wrong for Calais?
I think there's a number of factors, to be honest with you. And one of them, I think, is actually the squad itself. I think we're trying to play a National League North squad in the National League, and I just don't think that we've got some of the quality in that squad or caliber of players in that squad needed to compete at this level. Unfortunately, hasn't had a lot of backing by the sounds of it either, or we don't know that for sure, do we? How much they've put into
No.
the pot or what's been given, but I don't think they've made enough signings, to be honest with you, at National League level. Like I say, I think if you put our team into a National League, would we even touch that top 7 again now, where we are now?
Not
That's
sure.
questionable, isn't it? Injuries is the other thing we have to mention as well. They've been absolutely rabid, and ever since poor luck, haven't we? You know, with our goalkeeper being the most noticeable absentee. I think ever since then, I think it's been a rotten stage of injuries and long-term injuries as well, with the likes of Woods. Even you can look at further up the field, like Oliver Wilson, who's barely kicked a ball this season. Again, who would have been another option up top should he have been available. But yeah, they've just had some rum luck on that side as well. And then we will out there as well, the home form. You can't go this long without winning a game at home, I'm afraid, and expect to survive your job or any momentum going forward. Some of the performances at home were decent, but if you're not picking up points at home, mate, it makes your away game so much more of a struggle, doesn't it? And
it
then
does.
Saturday was just the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, we had some good performances. I mean, we were starting to get some really good performances at home. I mean, I thought last week the first half against Fylde was tremendous. To be fair, I thought we kept attacking, we kept having a go at them, and we did get the goal right on the stroke of half time there, and with through Pemi, and things were looking great. People were like, this could be it, the start of good things. And then obviously the second half again came along and we just struggled, didn't we? All the second halves we seemed to, I don't know what's happening at half time, but it just wasn't working in the second half, was it?
No, and again, you question that as well. They say that they don't go into the changing rooms and give input on that, like during half times. Again, it's a great philosophy to have that the players run that changing room. I love that idea, I do. But at times, as a manager or as a coach, you've got to go in there and give it some, haven't you? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's got to be times where your input's got to be put in there for something constructive to come out. But like you say, we've been a 40. If all games finished in 45 minutes this season, Dave, I think we'll be a top 10.
Yeah.
It's madness, isn't it? Like you say, first half to second half performances has been complete contrast of styles. And again, you can say Eastleigh again was exactly the same, broken record on Saturday just gone, wasn't it? They played fantastically for 45 minutes. Even played, do you know what really killed that game was the sending off. Because at 11v11, we win that game, to me.
Yeah.
We're matching them all over the park. And then all of a sudden, they go down a player. And it's almost like we lost a player. Confidence completely shot. Don't go and try and get another goal. And again, I mean, we're talking minimal things into a big scenario here. But I just feel as though his game tactics sometimes, when we're being in positive positions, has not been great. Instead of going for another goal and killing games off, we're sitting in and trying, and we're just inviting things on. And Tamworth again at home was the other sucker punch of that one, wasn't it? That
Yes, of
last minute goal
course.
into that top corner. Played
Yeah.
fantastically well the whole game. They go up there and score a goal, and it's just and all that does is suck all the enthusiasm out the stands, doesn't it? And the fans and everybody around us. And you think to yourself, God, we played really well, but we've only come away with 1 point. And that's how I felt on Saturday. It's like as soon as that game finished, I mean, I watched it on the stream here. Unfortunately, I was at work that night. So, but as soon as that game finished, it's almost like, how can we play that well and not win?
It felt like a defeat, didn't it? It actually did feel like a defeat at the end, due to the goal being so late. And yeah, unfortunately, just a slight loss of concentration. And yeah, obviously, as some fans have stated, obviously they were a little bit annoyed, as was the manager at the time with Jacob Hazel, giving it away. But I mean, looking back as well, I think the time the fans really probably started to get on the back of Cully, I felt, was the Gainsborough games. He, after especially the 2-2 draw up at Gainsborough, didn't play brilliant. Well, we didn't play brilliantly at all, to be fair. We were very lucky to get the last minute equaliser, and then obviously the game at Boston itself at the Jakemans, which was just a complete and utter disaster. It was our first team, bar maybe one or two, against a Gainsborough team there that absolutely dominated us from start to finish, and that was probably the game I would say that finished him. Probably.
Yeah,
Would you
possibly.
agree?
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. I do agree. Yeah, it was. You could tell there were signs there, wasn't there? And like you say, we absolutely stole that replay, didn't we? You know what I mean? From under their
Mm.
noses. We didn't deserve that replay. We all know that as fans. And we got our just deserves actually in that second game, didn't we? Because they were a lot better team than other night, but we was absolutely terrible that evening, weren't we? Nothing went right. But there was just signs. I mean, as much as there was positive signs, I think that the more negative signs probably just overtook the positives going forward. Looking at some of these games and some of these reactions to them as well. I mean, we put a poll on not long ago, and surprisingly, a lot of people said back him. I wonder how many would have put,
Yes,
if we'd have put that poll up again yesterday after that result on Saturday, how many would have put the same? I'm not too sure. I think the general consensus is that a lot of people would have backed him rather than got rid of him right now.
yeah,
But it's a results based business, Damo. This is the
it
point. If we're
is.
not getting results, if I said it to my boy a minute ago, to Oliver, was chatting about it, I said, if I was at work and I wasn't performing in the last 3 months, would I expect to be pulled in for a little bit of a review?
Of course you
Yeah,
would.
yeah, because you'd probably you would expect it, wouldn't you? It's like any walk of life, isn't it? It's a job at the end of the day. And if you're not performing to the standards as expected by your management people and the people above you, then the question's going to start to be asked.
It's like in the Premier League today. Manchester United sacked their manager Ten Hag, and he's not been getting the results really, and unfortunately.
Yeah, mate.
Oh, you're back again.
I'm back.
You're back.
Are you back?
I'm back. Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we
So
were saying, yeah, Man United, exactly that. It's regardless of what league you're playing in, and just on Ten Hag, I don't think he's on any kind of bus or train down to Boston anytime soon, so we can write him off the list. But yeah, it's a results-based business, like you say, isn't it? And like and that's the long and short of it, isn't it? I don't think it's through like I said earlier. I don't think it's through lack of effort or trying. I just think that it's
no.
been a barren run of results come at a bad time for him. Can't turn around the home form. Yes, we're looking like signs again from getting stuff from away from home, but just 10 points at this stage of the season, we can't afford to be cut afloat too much. Because if we are, then this season's going to be done before January. And obviously, we will come on to this now as well. But the next appointment is so vital now they get it right.
Well, that was my next question actually. Who is out there? Who can Boston look to come in and do a job and maybe move them up the league?
Interesting, isn't it, Damo? What would you do personally? Would you go for somebody roughly at about our level now? Would you go for somebody again who was probably a National League North coming up? Just back on Collie quickly though, I don't think that I think we did it with Craig Elliott as well. Craig Elliott, bless him, we sacked him and he never went any higher than this. I don't think Cully can manage any higher than the National League, and that's just me being honest.
No.
I think that this is his peak, where I think he's probably peaked again with Boston, similar to the Kings
Yeah.
Lynn situation. So I can't see him going any higher than this. But yeah, do you go for somebody at our level? Do you go for somebody that's up and coming? Do you go for somebody maybe bottom echelons of the league too? There's a few names out there actually, funnily enough, that we could talk about, isn't there?
There is. I mean, you before we came on here, you threw a couple of names at me, who you've mentioned, and yeah, it's a difficult one, really, isn't it? Who do you go for? Do you, like you say, do you go for that experience, or do you go for the lower, the National League North level, and hope that they can perform in the National League? I mean, it's someone as well that wants to come to, is going to be able to come to Boston as well and want to come to Boston. We are quite cut off, aren't we, over here, over on the East Coast here, and it's getting somebody in here. I mean, one player you mentioned, one manager rather you mentioned was Mark Kennedy, um, who,
Yeah, recently released from Swindon, wasn't he, from his duties? So,
yeah,
and previous Lincoln City manager. Interesting about Mark Kennedy is I think he's got a very similar playing style to Ian Culverhouse. Likes to play out from
right,
the back, likes to use the ball retention a lot. Not so much of a long ball game. Great part about Mark Kennedy, what I do really like is his honesty. To be honest with you, he's a very honest guy. You'll never get cut short on an interview or get anything like that we've had recently. You know what I mean? Where it's just been very, very. He's a very heart on the sleeve kind of guy.
yeah,
But But he would be to me, he would be a fantastic appointment if you can get him. Obviously, wages might be a bit difficult because he is a League Two bottom half. But
Yeah.
again, there will be that to sort out if that's a possibility. But to me, he has to be on that list, or at least talked about in some kind of
Yeah.
measurement from David Newton and the guys at the top there.
And he's ex-Lincoln City as well, isn't he? Ex-Lincoln City manager. So yeah, so maybe he knows this area. So another one you mentioned was Paul Hurst, but you said he was at Shrewsbury now.
Yeah, he shows me league manager at the minute again. Yeah, but again, he has connections with Boston, but obviously
Of
tied into
course.
contracts. Nothing like that's going to come from there. I wouldn't have said. He
No.
didn't leave on great terms as well when he went to to Grimsby Town either. So he didn't leave on great terms. The clubs, Boston and Grimsby had a big tribunal over it all, and there was a big fallout
Right.
over it when he left. So there might be there won't be anything there. I wouldn't have thought for that one.
No.
But I think there was two others we mentioned as well, wasn't
There
there?
was Andy Priest was another one.
Who I really like. If you watch
Yes.
his, I mean, as a guy, football, total fans, and total and honesty. Honesty is. If you ever watch his, I do watch his Chorley interviews sometimes. Very impressed with him in front of cameras. And seems to just have a good factor around there at the minute. At the top of the league, the National League North,
They
aren't they?
are, of course.
So obviously got them going up there as well. So maybe that he would be the kind of one that I would look at from the bottom leagues as well. I mean, I hate to say it, Boston fans, but would you look at Adam Lakeland from Kings Lynn at the minute? They're on a great run at the moment. I think they've
Well,
lost a game in 10 or 11 games of this, something silly like that. Or they're on a great run at the minute. But again, I don't know if I don't think he's as good as Cully was.
no.
Or as good as Cully is, to be honest with you. So maybe one to avoid there. But who
And I
knows?
don't know whether the King's Lynn chairman would let him go either.
He's not our best friend, is he?
He's not really, no. So I can't really see him being released to Boston United. But stranger things have happened, I guess.
Yeah, the last one
But
we mentioned. Yeah, here we go. The last one's a
the
really
last one,
interesting one.
yes, Danny Butterfield. Yes.
Really interesting about this one, and an ironic one about this one is he's the assistant manager of Eastleigh, who we played on Saturday. So he's actually there at the moment as their number two. But
Right.
Boston connections and Boston, born in Boston, ex Grimsby Town and Crystal Palace player actually. So
Right,
played at a
yes.
very good level. Again, first team management experience might be the question mark against the appointment, and might be the reason why they wouldn't go for him. But again, if you want somebody local who's going to get behind the team, but then again, why don't we just throw out there, a Bazza and Joe Simpson duo? If they're
Yeah.
happy to do it. If I don't know, again, I don't know how Paul is with his coaching badges. If he's got that experience again at management level, but as an interim, see how they get on and take it from there. My only feeling about this sacking is they've got to have something going on behind the scenes, because you wouldn't just fire him, would you? If you didn't
No.
have some kind of plan in place. So,
There must be
this
something. I
there's
mean,
got
the
to be
only thing,
something there.
yeah, I mean, with Joe and Bazza, you don't know how much they're involved with Cully, and so how much would we change under them guys? As much as I'd love to see them stay, and maybe get a position in the background, staff and as coaches. We don't know, like you say. I mean, I don't know how much involvement they've had in this season, and obviously Cully would have the final say, I would imagine, but how much would they be involved, and if so, how much would change on the pitch?
Well, a lot's going to change off the pitch at the minute, because we've not only lost
Mm,
our manager, have we? We've lost our potentially as we look at it,
yeah.
we've lost the goalkeeping coach, we've lost the under
Yes.
23, we've lost the under 23s coach, we've lost we're not talking about replacing one guy now, are we? We're talking about replacing
No.
three. So
Possibly the physio,
yeah,
the
yeah.
medical.
So it's left them with a bit of a conundrum, really, isn't it? About how they go about it. Um, so yeah, really interesting times. Going back to the appointment itself. So yeah, but yeah, there's going to be loads of names thrown in the hat around, isn't there? And people. The question is who's ready for the fight? Who is ready to come here?
Yes.
Going, because no offense, but they've got no time to get the ball rolling. We need, that game now at Dagenham 2 weeks time is now
Yeah.
massive, even more massive than it was 24 hours ago. Because
Yeah.
if they bring somebody in, a new manager bounce, aren't they? Fans are going to want it and things like that. If they don't bring anybody in, they're going to still want it from the guys that they leave there. So it's going to be a really really interesting few days for the club, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, obviously, we've got the the game against Sunderland as well coming next Tuesday, I believe, as well. I mean, who's going to
Who's
be
going
in
to be in
charge for
charge for
that
that?
one?
Me and you, Damo. We'll do
Yeah,
it.
we'll go and be in charge for that one.
Yeah.
You might see David Newton down on the bench.
You never know. You never know. But the thing is about the sacking as well. We'll just go back to it quickly, Cully. David
Mm,
Newton's not is a smart businessman. This wouldn't have been
yeah,
a knee-jerk reaction. This would have been something that he's had to think about and ponder over. And trust me, he wouldn't have wanted to do this unless he felt absolutely necessary to take
yeah.
this club forward and to get us up the table. He's not a guy that would have just made this decision by flipping a coin. We all know the kind of guy we're dealing with here.
Yeah,
He's very, very astute in that way. And like I say, I'm sure this was a very tough decision for the board to make.
of course. And I can imagine that we probably will have somebody in charge by the time we face Dagenham and Redbridge on November the 9th. I would hope, at least.
Well,
If
it's my
he,
birthday that day, Damo. So if they haven't got anybody in charge, I'm happy to throw my hat. If we could do like a fundraiser for every fan, right, and I'll take on the Dagenham game, and then somebody else can have the next one. That's fine.
yeah, we'll all take it in turns, and the best one that gets the best result can stay on as manager. That's the prize.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, I'm just thinking out my hand as well.
Yeah.
Michael Boswick, where does he stand now as well? Because obviously not seen him
Hmm.
play a lot recently. He's club captain. Does he have the credentials to possibly take it on with a Woods role as well? Because Martin Woods is excellently experienced at this level. You know,
Of course.
could a Boswick or a Woods come in? Fans again. I mean, we're talking about here, Damo, but we want
Yeah.
everybody else to talk about it as well. Let us know
Of
what
course
you
we do.
guys think.
Yes.
You know, we're just
Yeah.
throwing things out there. You know, some of it's completely left field and won't happen. But it's nice to discover what everybody else thinks about it and how we take it forward. But yeah, a Bozzy and Woods combination.
Yeah.
Could we see that?
That's quite a good idea actually, and even if it's just interim for the time being, while he gets someone else in, that could be what we see. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. If let us know and comment on Up the Pilgrims podcast on Facebook, or on X, formerly Twitter, and let us know what you think. So
Yeah.
right, so well. We say it's just a quick edition today anyway, so we thought we'd come on and sort of just say hi and just to let you know we're still about, and we've had some different issues just recently, haven't we? So
Yeah.
but
We'll be back regularly now. Don't you worry about it, folks.
oh yes,
Once David touches down on UK soil, we'll be planning our next one. So it'll come soon. And I'm just
yeah.
off on Football Manager now, mate, to spruce up my Football Manager so I can put my CV in.
Yep, excellent, fantastic. Well, thanks for joining me, and don't forget you can listen to the podcast on Twitter, not on Twitter, on Spotify. You can listen to it
Yeah.
on Twitter. You can click
Yeah,
on the
why
link on
not?
Twitter. Why
Yeah.
not? I told you this was all live. Now on Spotify, on Apple Music, and on Amazon Music as well, of course. So thank you once again, Stedders, and join us all again very soon for another edition of Up the Pilgrims.
Cheers, Damo.